Hello and welcome to ET Interview. My guest on the show is someone who I've really admired over the years for his grit, his ability, and his vision really to outthink what the competition is doing. Some would say he's the man who saw tomorrow. At the peak of the entire diagnostic cycle, Mr. A Velumani decided to exit his business. Now, when you are an entrepreneur, and especially in first generation entrepreneur, you get emotionally attached to your business. But Mr. Velumani demonstrated that there is a difference in creating a business, but more importantly, as a businessman, it is important to realize the true time to really benefit from your venture. So, how has life changed for Mr. A Velumani? Is he relaxing? Is he taking it easy? Or is he planning another big entrepreneurial venture? So nice to have you back. I'm so glad you could join us.
Thank you.
Let's start the show with a very simple question. Second innings for A Velumani. Everybody knows about the exit. So what has happened after that? Because it's been almost 2 years, ever since you've exited your ownership in Thyrocare.
The exit in some way was unplanned, sudden, and I took quick decision, and I got quick money. And then I thought, you have worked for so many years, 4 decades of 7 to 9 every day working. Then I thought not doing anything could be pleasure. But then I understood only after the exit that's more tough. It's not simple to sit somewhere and just kill the rest of the life. Also, man either lives till 70 or 80 or even up to 90. I don't know how long I will live. If I am going to live for another 25 years with so much of experience and the business wisdom, I am really a criminal waste of my resource and knowledge.
So are you planning another entrepreneurial venture?
I don't think I will once again become a entrepreneur, because entrepreneur has to have energy, has to have age, has to have the need for even money, need for becoming popular. I think all those needs were fulfilled, and that is the time I exited. I have a reason to believe, I had said in a couple of interviews also, I was motivating employees to perform. I think that's my journey of first 27 years of business. I intend to motivate entrepreneurs to perform. I think that will amplify the outcome. So I am having an ambitious dream of scale a zero. Scale a zero means find a man who does a 10 crore turnover, journey with him until he becomes a 100 crore turnover.
Have you identified already?
A couple of them have been shortlisted. I need to understand that business A is scalable. B, that entrepreneur has got that dream to see a scale and truly be a leader. And he needs to have team in place. But then team can be put in place as long as the business DNA says scaling is not an issue. Very important, scaling should have advantages. There are plenty of businesses, scaling is pain. Work it an optimum 10 crore, 25 crore, that is the best EBITDA position. But I am looking for, and a couple of them I have identified. I am going to mentor at least 50 of them to see how they can add a zero. When they add a zero in the turnover, that means they have added a zero in the number of people working. And everything will be very pleasant. I'm a mathematician, and I am not convinced about linear growth. I am keen on an exponential growth.
Okay, you're talking about adding zero, but in your case, a zero has been subtracted. If I look at the Thyrocare stock price, it was almost at, you exited at 1300, the current stock price is at 400. Did you see this kind of an downturn coming in the diagnostic space? Because when you exited, it was peak of COVID, it was peak of panic, it was peak of business, and it's been a downturn after that.
I don't know whether I am a genius or not, but I knew in the peak of COVID, all diagnostic scripts are overvalued. I think that's to that extent, I could sense that. I expected post-COVID, it will get corrected. If it is 20% overvalued, it will come 20% less. I never expected the correction will go to this extent I think that's the sentiments of the market. जब भी देता है बेहिसाब देता है, जब भी बिगड़ता है एकदम बिगड़ जाता है. I think in that way it wasn't expected, but having said that, the entire world, all diagnostic companies have suffered after enjoying the COVID peak, all suffering. So it was not calculated. People might tell today Dr. Velumani was a visionary. I think you can always look back and tell. I just thought I should just rest and relax, but this is even a shock to me.
Do you think this entire slowdown what we currently are experiencing in the diagnostic space, it's real, and that is the real world, which is that it's going to be a 10 to 12% mid-teen growth business?
Yeah, I think last 30 years before COVID came into picture, there were less players, and large players have enjoyed the benefits of technologies which they have very well employed. COVID came, COVID disrupted. Because of COVID, because of need of RT-PCR, government has allowed additional 2,000, 3,000 laboratories accredited. Once they are in, the COVID business is gone. Now they are also into non-COVID business, which means for a limited space, there are now more players. So that means your top line growth cannot be as comfortable as it used to be. So that is expected. I have a reason to believe at least additional 2-3 years it will take to be where they were in 2021 Q4.
So when do you think industry will go back to the pre-COVID growth?
Yes, sir. 2021 Q4 will take at least another 3 years.
Another 3 years?
Yes.
Okay. But there was a theme which we used to discuss before COVID, that the unorganized sector is moving towards organized sector. What has happened post-COVID is that a lot of small outfits have opened, and they are the ones which are regaining market share.
No, actually the scenario earlier was too little organized players.
Okay.
Today there are more organized players. Let us put it that way. It's not has gone back. Those days nationally 4 players, regionally there were a dozen, and state-wise there were around 50. Today state-wise itself there are 100 players. They do take care of their balance sheet. Those who take care of balance sheet and pay tax are organized.
Correct.
So today you find a good number of people in the dream of valuation. They are putting up a proper show. I think the industry is becoming organized, but the organized players are too many, and that makes the top players to struggle for their top line growth.
Hypothetically, now that you are an investor, you're incubating small businesses, would you be looking, if given a chance, would you like to buy and invest into diagnostic stocks?
I would love to buy diagnostic stocks to an extent of 5%, 10%. I don't
Do
want
you see
to.
value in them?
I think if at all somebody is not in a trading business and somebody is not looking for encashing next year, diagnostics is the right discipline to invest in. Healthcare will certainly one day be big enough. Temporary setbacks are an opportunity to get invest in. So, even when I exited, I did buy all my competitors' stock, including Thyrocare stock.
Okay.
But then to my surprise, what I purchased has again gone down another 30-40% down. But my bet is I would advise everyone to look diagnostics much more seriously now. If not, you will never be in diagnostics.
When you exited your ownership in Thyrocare, along with the cash which you got, you also invested in the ESOPs or the shares of Pharmacy, the company which acquired Thyrocare. Now that sector per se, which is this entire online pharmacy, has also gone through a rather downhill. Is the business model of online pharma in India coming under threat?
There has been an air of doubt around always on e-pharmacy. The lobby of the physical stores is a big lobby. They were the kings for so long. Now only a couple of players, maximum 6-7 are online, and these guys are a threat for them. So there is a tussle going on, and the government is trying to put a kind of balance. They have never said you can't do e-pharmacy. They are not approving e-pharmacy as a formal domain. So it's a fight, and it will take some time. It will not go away. So that's very clear, number one. The sentiments of startups, if you look at all big startups have been having challenge, so is pharmacy as a startup having the entrepreneur based, investor based, the cash burning, everything is now under a challenge. The pharmacy as a legitimate business also they are trying to get addressed. The third thing is the companies which are burning too much too long will find it very difficult to survive, and people felt 1 or 2 years of burning will be end of the burning, and there are companies burning for 10 years. So that's the biggest.
Are you worried about your investment in PharmEasy?
I am worried like any other investor, if your stock value has eroded 50%.
More than 50%.
No, I think what I see from, it's not a listed share.
Yeah.
It's a grey market which is buying it. It's available at 50% cost of what I purchased. I haven't sold any share. I believe by year 2026, I should be making a decent return.
So if given an option to buy more shares of PharmEasy or fresh shares of a diagnostic company.
Second
one. So you would like to buy more shares of PharmEasy?
No.
More diagnostic stocks?
Yes.
But sir, to be real, your exit in Thyrocare was sudden. And it's a company which you built with a lot of blood, sweat and tear. It's a company which you built literally from a garage. And you had employees who I understand they were with you for more than 15 years, 20 years. 25 years plus. It must be hard to say goodbye to them because you had to say goodbye to them as part of the exit.
I think I looked at me leaving my children at an age where I have to go.
But you knew that the downturn had started and you still had to leave your children in a business where you knew that the best was over.
I think you can't have it and eat it too. You need to take a call. Emotions when getting attached and then you don't suffer. I think if you know when to detach, you are very powerful.
What is the future of Thyrocare according to you now?
I think Thyrocare as a business concept was working on a B2B model, high efficient model, low, low cost model. I think with all said and done, it will one day be an indigo of airline industry.
Have they lost the charm of being the lowest? I remember the phrase which you would use for the first time when we were discussing Thyrocare, that it is the kitchen of the diagnostic space. I distinctly remember, and that comment has stayed with me. Has the new management lost that entire mojo, the whole soul, which was making it cheap, affordable, and taking it to masses? Have they lost that spirit?
I won't say they have lost the spirit. They are competing with the competition. I was not at all doing anything what my competition was doing. Literally 25 years, every year, even in boardroom, even the feedback from my managers, vice presidents, sir, we are not doing what they are doing. I used to tell them, I don't want to do what they are doing. This kind of, grit to stick to what I believe is right, made Thyrocare to reach a 40% EBITDA for 20 long years, every year 40% EBITDA. Why should I change anything? Now that COVID has disrupted, the new team is seeing that edge is gone. We need to reinvent, and now they are doing what the competition is doing, which is not going to bring in, EBITDA back.
Are you in touch with the new management? There is a professional CEO there and there's a new owner there. Do you talk to them? Do you change WhatsApp messages?
Actually, I'll tell you, it's a little emotion. I didn't expect you to ask this question. I was asked to sign in the resignation of a MD and a CEO because that is a prerequisite to do the transaction. I signed.
Okay.
I expected I will hand over the realms of affair to the new CEO or new MD. The company was running for 45 days without an MD and CEO. There was no formal, I felt very bad about it. My 27 years of experience would not do any damage. It was like the शादी हो गया लड़की को गाड़ी में बिठा पिताजी गया बाढ़ में. That attitude was there.
So you're not in touch with them now?
Zero.
Okay. What did your son and your daughter say the minute you exited the company? Dad, take it easy?
No, for them, they were not to run this company. They were telling, Dad, we will support you as long as you run it. So for them, they had not truly emotionally connected like I have got connected. So they are okay. They said, Dad, we got a good exit, and they are very happy that Dad took a right decision in a right time. I don't think they sit and of course they see the turnovers are not growing, what will happen to it in the long run. But I believe it's the COVID problem, not a problem otherwise. That's my positive thinking.
I'm going to ask you a very personal question, not that you had any issues, but did you pamper yourself with something materialistic after the exit because paisa aaya ghar ke andar?
ऐसा तो मैं
Did you buy a new car, a new watch, a new travel plan, a long holiday?
Nothing. I must tell you here, I continue to live with the same kind of expenditure I used to have when I was working in BRC. So, which means money has not changed me. Haven't indulged into big bungalow buying in Pedar Road or Bandra. I went and found a house for 15 crores. And then my son wanted to own it because an address is required for correspondence. So I have recently tweeted, you know, I lived for 15 years in my maternal grandfather's house. My father could not buy a house. I did not buy a house, and I am living with my son as of today. So I think that is what it is. I have no one to show. My journey speaks. I don't have to make a material to make people to understand that I am rather successful.
Do you think the best of A Velumani is yet to come?
We don't know. I think, as I said, if I live for another 20 years and if I put my resources in place, there is a likelihood I can create one more zero in the number of employees benefited because of my wisdom. So otherwise, there is no other dream of chasing wealth. You know, sometimes my children ask, Dad, why you needed more than 5 crores? You should have worked in BRC. And then they told me, why not after 50 crores you didn't exit? Why not after 500 crore? Finally, after 5,000 crore, I have exited. I don't think my children are also looking for that, you know, more zeros will make money. My children want to create a social impact. Best what money can buy is, money can do is make a difference to somebody's life. So they are focused towards creating some difference. Overall, the journey of chasing numbers is gone, except one number of people employed. If we can increase, nothing like it.
Wonderful. 25 years ago, when you started Thyrocare, that was the idea ahead of its time, and an idea which you were able to scale up because you were able to identify the need of the society. So you identified the need of the society, you were able to leverage, and you were able to solve a problem. If you have to start fresh today, let's say if you are in your 40s, and if you have to identify a new idea, or if you can share with us an idea which A, solves a problem, B, is scalable and can start with limited capital, what would be that idea? What are those ideas?
All ideas are in diagnostics only. I can't imagine of anything beyond that because my PhD in thyroid and then business in thyroid, and literally speaking, I am limiting myself to only pathology, that to clinical chemistry. I have another 3 years of non-compete.
Okay.
So any of my ideas cannot truly move into action.
But you could come back into diagnostic space. Are you thinking about it?
There are a couple of very disruptive ideas which were not ideas in my Thyrocare running days because I was in the journey. The last 2 years, I really see I could have done it different. I believe I made only difference to the middleman in my first avatar. The next avatar, I can make a difference to the common man. That's how I see it. A couple of things are being thought through. It will take 2-3 years for me to finally crystallize how it can be done. I am not in a hurry. But then there are a few things. I let me tell you, if you own maximum aircrafts, if all aircrafts are fully loaded, and if all aircrafts are running for 20 hours in a day, you will make a difference to the society.
So true, so true.
So yes, all diagnostic instruments should run 20 hours in a day. I was talking about OU of diagnostics even during the IPO days, but then too much of things together did not work. Now that I took a pause, I see something could have been done in a different way. I think it is going to be a disruptive one which will benefit the not the middleman, to the common man.
And do you see your children coming on board this time, because in your journey to Thyrocare they were not associated with you professionally?
I think they are emotionally connected. I think I am a bit loud in communicating highly what you call as emotionally as well as business wise communicating. They are silent listeners. I think they are like my wife, who always was listening. I think they will do work, but they won't be talking that they will do this and that. But whether they come in or not, whether I own that business or not, that business will be done.
There was a time when we would interact with you perhaps on a daily basis, or I would say hourly basis at the peak of the COVID.
That's right.
Is COVID history now? Is COVID history? Do you think it's over?
All viral infections have self-limiting time.
Okay.
Be it for an individual. If you have a viral fever, it's 7 days. If you are treated, it is cured 1 week. So literally speaking, that is what is known as viral infections. Viral infections will come every 2-3 years. Somewhere some bouts will come. In some hundreds will die, in some thousands will die. In COVID, probably millions died, but we are 8 billion population. I don't think the virus can ever totally, completely shake us. But I would say virus killed less, panic killed more.
So true.
So the entire world completely, world order has changed. The Western countries completely collapsed. All their GDPs are totally down. COVID has done enough good for India.
But the way COVID was handled medically, extra use of medicines, too many injections, do you think it was handled very badly? There was too much of lab experimentation which actually was happening at a mass level.
I must tell you, these kind of infections were probably there 100 years back, 200 years back. No communication, no media, no social media. Everything was not panicked to this extent. Suddenly this hits, then it is declared as an epidemic, then the government takes over, then the collectors take over, then the politicians take over.
Did WHO handle it badly?
For them also, I would tell it like this, they didn't intentionally mishandle. They probably mishandled without knowing what to be done.
Final question, because of the COVID spread, lot of diagnostics and equipment investments were done by hospitals and by labs and by hospitals. What happens there? I mean, all that equipment, I'm sure the number must run into millions.
The space is waste. The instruments are waste. Even the people taken for running COVID operations all became unemployed. But everybody made money.
Everyone made money. Which is one line which defines A Velumani?
Not one line, 3 words. One is focus. The second one is frugality. And the third one is, while talking I have forgotten. I think focus and frugality, 2 words. Be frugal, be highly focused. These 2 words I have been tweeting every other day. And if both are there, you will have.
You're missing the third one, so that's faith. You always had faith that what you're trying to do, you will be able to achieve that. It was not easy for a PhD doctor to walk on the path of entrepreneurship and stick to it. I know there were early setbacks. I know everyone criticized you. Everyone said, "Hey, kya kar raha hai? Is he a madman? Test cannot be done at a 90% lower cost."
I think these 2 F's are faith and frugality. There are 2 C's, confidence and courage. Without these 2, I would have not come into a business. There are another 3 T's.
Which is?
If you are not truthful, so the first is truth. You can't be transparent.
Okay.
And if you are not transparent, you will not be trusted. And if you are not trusted, you cannot do anything. So to begin with, you need to start with truth. In fact, I tell it is 4 T's. Truth, transparency, trust, Thyrocare.
It's just been so fascinating interacting with you. I don't know about you, but I certainly miss our interactions which we used to have, and I look forward to meeting much more of you going forward. It's just been one of the most incredible interviews of my career. What started as more like centered around curiosity about second life of Mr. Velumani. Well, guess what? We've really covered a range of topics, from lessons on entrepreneurship to importance of faith frugality, transparency, truthfulness, gratitude, and care. That's what this man represents really. Really a pleasure to have you, Neeti.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
I
joining
enjoyed.
us.